are. We're on now.
Are we on now? Oh,
I don't know why we're bothering him today, because we just need to go to bed and get up tomorrow.
You think that'll make it any better?
Well, it must do.
Whoa.
I'm thinking it might.
Where the hell
is what?
Well, it's the banking. Oh, this is not mine. This just came in.
I know, I brought that in. It's a voting thing.
Oh, okay. I wanted to see what an actual ballot looks like. Is it in here?
Oh, I don't think
You
so.
don't know.
No. I wouldn't think so.
Because that's how they screwed up that other Al Gore thing. I won't go there.
I don't think we've quite got the brain bandwidth today for it.
Oh, Lord.
Come on. Oh, you need to put more effort in. Effort, a bit spring. Yes, good girl. Oh.
That is not a chair.
She's like, feels like a chair to me. Oh, dearie, dearie me. So it's Friday.
Thank heavens.
We'll skip on to Saturday.
TGIF, right?
Yes.
Lordy.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll just leave our Friday out of it, shall we? And then just wait for tomorrow.
Well, Janine will be home soon.
Sunday.
That would really screw everything up. Where did she get her fist in this mess?
Oh, dear.
What do you think is going on?
I've got a scratchy nose now.
Anything is happening over there we should think about?
No, I think we're all okay.
Okay.
Sort of.
We have a horse coming.
We do. Chester.
Chester.
He's lovely. He's the biggest baby. Just loves Momo.
What?
Just loves Momo.
Oh, I thought you said we just lost.
No, we haven't just lost Momo. I fed her this
The
afternoon.
winter is coming. I can't believe that the rack of bones is going to make it.
I think she will.
Huh?
I think she will. She is full of piss and vinegar. Honestly, she and I had a fight over a feed bowl. She'd finished hers quickly and was into Gertie, the donkeys, and I bent down to pull it away from her, and I put my elbow on her shoulder, and she went like that on top of me. So we were doing a dance, and I was trying to kick the feed bowl with one foot, and she's going at me, and I was like, listen, I'm going to be taken out by a 35-year-old enormous mule.
She would too.
She would as well. She doesn't care. So
she took me out of the driveway.
Yeah, so I wrestled it away from her, locked her in the barn, and took Gertie outside to finish her dinner in peace. And the whole time she stared at me through the barn window. You know that eye she does.
Oh God!
And when Gertie,
what do the simple folk do?
Oh, I don't know. And when Gertie had finished eating, I opened the door and she barreled out and she went over. Before I picked the bowl up, she went over and the head was in it. And she licked it and she was like, see, I finished it. And I'm like, you did not. It was empty. But I have a sense of humour. She's some girl. Some girl and a half. So, what have we done today? Judy was here this morning, which was
Judy was here this morning. And we were all set to have a morning and go away and go to the market and do things and go visit those friends of mine. And by the time we got done the things we had to do, she had to go home. So that ended that whole deal. Oh, but then I wanted to call and say we're coming, or whatever. So I asked her if she wouldn't get the phone number, because she's the one that keeps track of all these. And she calls the phone, she hands it to me. And I get on the phone and I say, may I speak to Ron and Hope Nutter? And the person says, we don't have a Ron and Hope Nutter. I said, you have to have a Ron and Hope Nutter. I said, I had a friend who was just in there yesterday, and they said they saw them there yesterday. So finally, I got the supervisor on the phone and things. I'm still looking for Ron and Hope. And she says, this is such and such in Beverly. I said, no. I believe you don't have Ron and Hope Nutter because they're in the same kind of name in Andover. I had the wrong facility, but the same, part of the same chain.
Yeah. Did you get them?
No. Well, yes, I did.
Did you?
I did. They're... Ooh, yep, well, yeah, we're going to try and connect next Monday.
Oh.
He had doctor's appointments this afternoon, so he...
That's okay.
I got 65 other things on this call.
No, you're okay Monday.
Oh, all right, whatever.
You're playing Monday.
I'll address it Monday.
That sounds like a plan.
Isn't that
Until we get
wonderful?
to Monday.
Right.
Yeah. I've actually stopped making plans now.
Well, you've had some really fascinating time. I
have.
wish I had it all on tape or written down already or whatever, but you in the bank, that was a classic.
I know. I still am a bit confuddled.
Do you want to explain it to him briefly?
Yes. There's no brief about this.
Well, the bank has no complaint department, except to throw things in the back room.
Carlene gave me a check drawn on her personal account because Nick and I, we went to New Hampshire to buy the flooring. So we purchased said flooring and the check ended up being, what was it, over $3,000.
$3,054.84.
I'm glad you remembered because I couldn't have told you. So we swapped the receipts and Carlene gave us a check. And I duly used my phone and paid it into the bank.
Well, no, there's one little piece missing there.
Yes.
When I wrote the check, I wrote the date at the top, and I wrote 23 instead of 24.
No, you did not. You were trying to write 84. Remember?
Well, I wrote 84 on top of the 83.
Right. And then you did 24. So you changed the 8 to a 2.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't know. I had the date, I had the wrong date, so I corrected the date. You can't do that in this bank. So the bank decided it was forged check
Yes.
because I tried to change it. I thought I was trying to change a 3 to a 4, but whatever.
I thought you'd done a jolly good job for that forgery.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the bank, I thought, this check's taking an awful long time to clear because this was the 5th of this month.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is incredible. So I just left it. And I thought, you know what? It'll get there eventually. No problem. And we were still able to afford to eat and put gas in the car and buy dog treats. So it wasn't a problem. So then this morning, Nick's salary is paid in. And I went to go and check that it's all gone in. No problem at all. And the bank wouldn't let me go in to my bank account. It said, does not compute. We have no idea who you are. So I thought, oh my gosh, I'll go and change my password, as one does. No, we don't recognise your sign-in. And then I went in under my social security number, and nope. And I was like, oh, this is awful. So I phoned the number in the back of my card, and they said to me, yeah, we're closing your bank account, both of them. I was like, why? And they went, because you've been conducting your account fraudulently. I said, well, that's news to me. I said, considering I do very little with the bank. So I said, right. I said, what have I done that's fraudulent? And my husband's salary is in my bank account, and I'd quite like it. Thank you very much. And they said, well, you can't have it, basically. And I said, oh, that's interesting. So I said, right, that's jolly interesting. So and Nick works in finance. So I came off the phone and had a little think about it. I said, right, Nick, I'm phoning back. You talk to them. And so he talked to them, and it turns out that they decided to shut both bank accounts because I had attempted to deposit an account a check that I had altered. And I'm like, yeah, signed the back of it, ticked the box for online deposit only, and they took photos of it. And I'm sitting thinking, I've got that check somewhere, I better go and look at it. So I looked at the check and I thought, well, I haven't touched it. And then I remembered Carlene had changed the year, and I thought, well, she did quite a good job of going over it. And so I said to them, no, I said, I don't understand why you're closing my bank account, because the lady who issued the check wrote the wrong date. I said, and then just went over it, and it looks fine to me, by the way. And I said, but I do appreciate that maybe you're unhappy with the check. I said, so that's fine. I said, at which point, why don't you just bounce the check? They're like, no, it's fraud. And I'm like, yeah, no.
My bank already paid it.
Right. So the worst thing is, So I said, right, Nick, you deal with this. So I wandered over here and I said, did that check bounce? And she said, no. So Carlene phoned her bank and they had issued the money the following day, which was the 6th. So she doesn't have the 3,000. How much?
$54.84,
right.
That way.
They're just over $3,000. So it's not in her bank account. It's not in my bank account. The bank have it. But it turns out that not only do they have that, but they've got about $12,000 of our money because I can't take the salary out because it's a fraudulent bank account and that's highly illegal. And I said, so that's fine. I said, so the salary which comes in from the company every 2 weeks anyway, I said, could I have that? And they're like, no, you can't. But we will give it back to you. I said, oh, thank goodness. I said, what? Like tomorrow? And they went, oh, we don't work weekends. I was like, obviously not. And then they said, so we will review this situation and you'll get your money back. We'll issue you a bank check on October the 27th. And I said, well, bearing in mind that we get paid every 2 weeks, that's almost like 3 pay cycles until I get this pay cycle. And I'd like to eat before sort of like October the 27th, thanks very much. And they said, well, it's not really our problem because, quite frankly, what you should have done is you should have stopped the automatic payment coming in. And I said, well, why would I have done that? I said, because I only found out this morning that although you took offence at the cheque on the 6th of September, that you've decided that there's a problem with the account today.
And they never told you.
And they didn't tell me. I said, because, yes, I would have changed where I was depositing the salary. Thank you very much. So, the upshot of it is that I don't have any money.
And I don't either. I mean,
no,
they've taken it
so
out
they
of my
didn't give it back
account.
to Carlene. They won't give it to me, and nor will they give me salary. So I said, well, I'd like to be put in contact with
You wanted
the complaints department.
The complaint
I said,
department.
could I have the complaints department, please? And she said, no, we don't have one. I said, well, that's actually illegal. Every company, particularly banks and financial institutes, are supposed to have a complaints department. Yeah, well, we don't. I'm like, you're the bank of such and such. I would expect that you really actually, considering this is not an uncommon problem apparently, would have a complaints department. So she said, well, hold on a minute and I'll go and speak to someone. I thought, jolly good. So she came back after about 2 minutes and she said, oh, I'll take your complaint. I said, so are you the complaints department? No. I said, so why are you taking my complaint if you're not the complaints department? So you see, I'm going to fill in a complaint and then I'm going to send it on. I said, so where are you sending it on to if you don't have a complaints department? I'm sending it on to the back room. I said, right. I said, this is as clear as mud. I said, is this the back room of the complaints department that doesn't exist or your back room? My back room. I said, so what's in your back room? I said, is it a bit of paper you're putting in? Oh, no, it's all like electronic. I went, oh, thank goodness for that. And I said, so this electronic piece of information is going to your non-complaints department containing my complaint to sit in your back room, but you don't actually deal with this. And you're telling me a bank that's one of the largest in America doesn't have a complaints department? No. I'm like, that's jolly good.
They'll have one tomorrow.
So I had to go, so Nick said, go and complain to this lot. Get the complaint off your chest. So I complained to somebody else. And they sent me an email back and said, that's ridiculous. We've passed it on to them. So probably by October the 27th, I'll get some sort of reply. And while I can be facetious and see the funny side of it, it's actually not funny because I'm very fortunate in that it's not going to...
Is that your only account?
It's not my only account and it's not going to financially impact us. It's an irritation. We will still be okay for dog treats and food and we will be able to cover our bills. But there are a heck of a lot of people that deal with paycheck to
You
paycheck.
are fighting the argument for somebody else.
Yes, I am, because it's really absolutely ridiculous.
Goldie picked you because you have the ability to give them hell.
So, quite frankly, it's been... That wasted a whole blinking morning.
Yeah, it did.
And I had plans. So, I've
Well,
given
at any
up.
rate.
So I decided to go and hug a donkey this afternoon, and that made it all better. And
There
now
you
I'm
are.
hugging Wanda, so it's fine now. So we've
Okay.
had Carlene speaking to her bank, me speaking to, I don't know who I was speaking to in the bank, but it's not.
And speaking to my bank was
Yeah.
not easy.
No, well, speaking to mine, I think I win with that one because I was speaking to the secret department. Anyway, so that was our excitement for the day. And then what else did we get up to? We caused some other chaos somewhere.
I didn't even get back to, theoretically, my bank has enabled me to see the several different accounts on when I call up anything on the.
What, for my check?
You're supposed to have online banking, so when I push in my little buttons, I want to see any account that I have there.
Yes. And where my $3,000 has gone.
Right. And things like that.
Well, we do know that the $3,000 has gone. It's come my way, but I don't have it. Can I have another one, please?
Yeah, it's not in mine. It got withdrawn.
Do I get a rematch? So, anyway.
Well,
So we're not speaking about banks now because they're in the bank
well,
books.
there's another funny story on this
Yes.
bank deal because I haven't had a chance to look at it. Whatever. I think they have a $2,000 error, and I haven't. They've got me so screwed up on this other deal that I haven't had a chance. And the error is in my favor.
The way I'm feeling about banks right now, I would hold on to it because, quite frankly, you're probably due it from
I will
something
earn
you've
it.
done. Yes, you
Try to
will.
straighten it out.
You will. So that was our exciting morning. I actually
Yeah.
feel the need for a wee snooze.
It's a $2,000. I don't see how it's not a $2,000 error. It's a check I write every month.
Yes.
And they're $2,000 off.
I've given up.
You don't
It doesn't-
even give a rip.
Listen, it doesn't make rhyme nor reason to me. I think you and I probably grew up in the era of customer service,
Yeah.
when you spoke to somebody and if they didn't know the answer, they'd go and find somebody who knew the answer.
And people did know the answer.
Yes, and they were
Now people don't know the answers anyway.
and they were quite polite about it. Instead of turning around and saying, well, it's evident that you've altered the check. And I'm like, no, I didn't. And,
God.
it's, and the thing that I find confusing, and I can understand that is a problem for them because you have to be terribly careful in this day and age of fraud. But I certainly hadn't altered it in my favour. I could have put a few zeros on. I hadn't altered it in my favour, but the issuing bank had paid it.
Oh.
So I would have thought that the fact that the issuing bank is obviously clearly used to Carlene altering things on a regular basis. I think since the issuing bank had paid it, you would have thought that they would have contacted the issuing bank to say, could this be fraud? At which point they'd have said, hang on, we'll phone Carlene. And she would have said, when I came in this morning, I said, you know that $3,000 check you gave me? And you said, was it not $30? And I was like, well, you're going to be no help to me whatsoever. I said, no, it was 3,000. And then we had to go and get the book out because we do have records of these things. I give up.
The accounting here is wild, but we've got it.
It's wild and woolly, but it's normally quite correct.
It is correct. It's normally easier.
Well,
But I'm not sure I'm even going to tell the bank about that.
no, because it's probably something you're due
Not
from
until
way
I get
back.
everything else straightened out. Because
Half of it, I'll go halfers on it.
there you are.
Oh, I tell you. So that was quite the thing. Is there anything else happened
I
today?
was the one. I was the first to install a medical billing account in Massachusetts.
Don't get me started about medical bills.
I was.
I could go on about that
This
for a while.
The guy who wrote the program was, I think, from Vermont, and we installed it in Linfield. And there were problems. I mean, there's always, whenever you're at a program, there's going to be bugs.
Yeah.
And I basically debugged it.
Yeah.
And it was during that debugging bit that I came home and mixed myself the Southern Comfort Manhattan and ended up in jail looking for $6 bail money. The whole thing gets tied together. Ah!
I tell you.
Any rate.
But I did have a really nice phone call this afternoon, or a WhatsApp call, with my friend Kirsty, who's one of my oldest friends. We were at school together as young children, and she has been working in Montreal.
Really?
Yeah, but she's going back to London this evening, which is very sad.
Oh, that's too bad.
So I'm hoping she comes back.
Tell her next time she comes here, tell her that we have, you know.
She said if she's doing a job, she's bilingual, so she speaks the French, and so she's doing a job between London and Canada, and so she said that if she goes on the next part of the project, she said she would come down, and then I can
fly in Boston.
Yeah, and then I can go up there for the weekend.
That'd be fun.
She said that a lot of the people in the project are looking at purchasing houses, etc., because I think it's going to be a long-term project, and they might move over here. And I said, "Oh, would you do that?" Now, she lives in a lovely part of London, and she said, "Well," she said, "the summer's been pretty brutal." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, the summer has been brutal. They were really hot up in Montreal, and apparently the winters are awful." I was like, "Right," I said, "I'd rather have an awful winter than a brutal summer." She said, and she started the job in February, and she said that she thought it was a really odd city, Montreal. Now, I know nothing about Montreal, and she said that when she got there, she said there was a dearth of people. There just wasn't anybody round about. And she said that when she got a taxi to her hotel, and the taxi driver said, now, he was speaking to her in French, and he said something about, you know, infini, you'll die, you know, something about her slipping on the ice and dying. And she was like, "Oh, that's heartening." I was like, "No, that is heartening." She said, but they realised that the reason there was a dearth of people is apparently they have underground shopping malls where everybody goes to. That
makes sense in those.
So she said, so everybody else knew about them apart from her.
Yeah.
Which, I might add, sounds a bit like the year that we moved here, and we came here, we'd been here for in Andover for about 3 days, and the electricity went out and didn't come on for days, and it was that snowstorm that knocked out Halloween.
Oh yeah.
And we had fall clothes. Our stuff was coming off a container. It was absolute chaos. And I couldn't understand why everyone else looked kind of fresh and well rested and warm. And I thought, you know, there's a real funny noise out here. Boom, 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 boom. I'd never come across personal generators in houses. So everyone else was running on a generator, bar us, and functioning. We didn't have a generator, and we sure as heck weren't functioning. Honestly.
I mean, their generators are new to me.
Yeah.
And the only one who doesn't have one is me.
Well,
the other buildings here.
We didn't even have a functioning fireplace.
Oh.
We had no heat, no hot water, and we were cooking up water on the barbecue, on the grill outside, in the snow.
Whatever worked.
Yeah. And my parents, who were en route to Sanibel, said, maybe we should go to Sanibel early. And I'm thinking, maybe we should all be going to Sanibel. This is horrific. It's a shock to the system.
That's it for the problems you can have.
Yeah. First world problems. They're not horrific. Nobody died.
No.
But it was very cold. I've never been in bed with so many clothes on and woolly hats. And one of my children said to me, "This hat's scratchy." And I'm like, "Just keep it on your head." And eventually they're like, no, I'm warm enough, and took it off. And I'm like, "Thanks, I'll have it." The hat. I was like, I don't care anymore. I've given up.
Okay.
Oh dear. Anything else happen today?
We had no animal. How was my dog over at the park?
She was very good.
Is she good?
She just trails you around about.
She behaves?
Yeah, she does.
Perfectly.
Perfectly. She just follows you everywhere. Keeps an eye on you.
Yeah.
And I just let her wander a little bit, but not away from me. You know, so I didn't have her on a leash because I was carrying Momo's very heavy bucket. And
But she followed you?
Yeah, she followed me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's tired now because she was running around.
Well, that's good. She hasn't had dinner.
No, she had dinner. It was in there waiting for her.
Oh.
So I popped her and she ate dinner.
Oh, so she did eat.
Yeah, she did eat. She's gone to sleep now. She's wiped out. But she was running around. She did a really funny thing. No stones today, which was super.
Yeah.
Because she really likes those stones. But so I was feeding one of the horses over the fence, and I was just standing there, and I realised she was at my feet, and I thought, well, that's good. She's ripping the grass.
Licking?
Ripping it like that, and going like that, and chucking it with her head, and then rolling in it. So if she's a bit green, it's my fault, sorry.
Okay.
But at least she wasn't eating it.
That's true.
Yes. So she was having a rare old time. Yes.
Okay.
So, oh gosh, I could do questions, couldn't I?
I forgot we even do questions. Okay.
I said it's been that kind of day.
What?
Because we've all been knocked out.
Do I have to worry about supper?
No, there'll be something in the fridge.
It must be.
Oh, there's stacks in the fridge. Oh yeah.
There's shredded carrot salad.
Well, I
I
was
like that.
Roger Reed, I was actually thinking about the grass because I had intended to cut the grass in the time that Janine was away, but the times kind of got away from me. And
Somebody else cut it, didn't they?
Tracy's husband cut it week 1.
Yeah.
I've kind of dropped the ball on that. Sorry, Janine. We haven't eaten the cake yet because we need Janine back first.
Okay.
Otherwise
It's still
you'll-
frozen solid.
Yeah, otherwise you'll have to eat a whole cake by yourself.
Although Judy tried to pull it out and said it was a great big.
It's a big metal tin.
Yeah.
It's super.
I told her to put it back.
Yeah. Yes, I think you can change the date on the cheque. I think it was the lack of initials that caused the problem. We need to start initialing everything. Just put a random initial down so that if there's any mess on a cheque, we've signed it off. If you make a change, you can write your initials,
Oh,
and then
really?
it's So let's just
Okay, I know about that sort of thing.
as a safety, we'll just initial every cheque.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Belts and braces. Oh dear. It's a good Friday afternoon. It's nearly done. Well, I would change banks. Well, let's face it, the bank are threatening to close both of my accounts, which is annoying me. But, and this is the other thing, when you change banks, it affects your credit rating.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
So there.
Everything affects your credit rating.
Yeah, I know. But it's Friday the 13th, and I am neither superstitious, and 13 is actually my lucky number, believe it or not. Begin to rethink that one.
You better try a different one.
I know. I think it's been my lucky number for 54 years, and now after this bank fiasco, I might be having to change it. How ridiculous!
Ah,
Yes, I should have walked into the bank with Angus. He'd have sorted them out.
I wanted to go to her
Yeah,
bank.
I know. I
I
was like,
wanted to take a couple dogs and walk in and sit there. I mean, you know, this business of being an old lady, I mean, you can have some fun with it.
yes, you could. Flower is just fine. She's still going.
I can see me sitting there saying, I want the $3,000 that you say she, you know.
I know.
I just sat there and yelled and
just
carried
said,
on.
you need to go to your own bank. Oh dear.
No, they've got it.
Oh yeah, we should have taken Angus, the dogs, the chickens, and we could have gone too, and not left until they sorted it.
Oh.
That's a job for Monday. And
We're
Elvis.
we're just on our way taking her to the nursing home.
Yeah. And we thought we'd clear this up before we went any further.
Oh, God.
Oh dear. Yeah, I would change banks, but Jane, the problem with it is that when you close a bank account down, it adversely affects your credit. So while I will not use that bank,
God, I must not have any credit at all.
no, and I'll use my other bank. I don't want that demerit on my credit score. I have thought about keeping money under a mattress, but I do have noodles in the house who choose just about anything. So that is not a good solution. No, she has not had cake yet. We're waiting till you have not had your cake yet,
No.
until we're waiting till Janine comes back.
Don't look at me. Go get in the chair.
Yes, I think my friend has very much liked Montreal. She sent me a picture. She was on some speedboat thing, so she had to have a life jacket on and then waterproofs on top because it was very fast and very splashy. But she said it was jolly good.
Look at that dog. That dog. She knew I told her to get in that chair, and she did get in the chair. Now she's back bugging you.
I know. Oh, I tell you. Anyway, no harm, no foul. It's Monday next.
What?
Well, it's Saturday tomorrow. We've got a gentleman coming to give us a price for the trees because we've done this in a sort of totally topsy-turvy fashion. Now that the beautiful roof is on, we're sitting looking at, ooh, that tree looks like it's come down a bit.
Well,
so
I think you've gotten hypersensitive about it. These trees are hundreds of years old.
I know, and they're dying at a tremendous rate. Do you know, I came out the other day and there's a big branch that had fallen off one of the blinking pine trees between the house and the nut house, and I sent a picture to Janine. I said, I'm beginning to feel a bit paranoid. And she went, she said, maybe you should be. She said, did it hit anything? I said, no. Oh. So we've got the tree man coming tomorrow, and then we've got to get all ready for Janine coming back, as we do. And then Gwen's coming in the 17th. What day is that? Oh, that's Tuesday.
Yeah.
How long was Gwen here for?
Not very long. Just enough to.
When is it? When till?
4 or 5 days.
Oh, that's good. And then I don't know. Now,
these trees are not dying.
Well, then they're deliberately chucking their branches down.
Well, that could happen.
They need to stop that nonsense. It's becoming problematic.
There is a tree down by the pond that I think is dying. It's got ants in it. It's absolutely hollow with ants.
Listen, is it pointed towards the cabin, the house, or the RV?
The pond.
Oh, that's fine.
It's the one at the head of the pond. It's the one you go round to make the bend. If you look down at the bottom, it's full of ants.
Excellent.
That's the only tree I know. But I thought these trees are pretty good. I don't know. They shed a thing then every once in a while. You can't do much about lightning and stuff. So it's going to happen.
I don't know how being accused of being fraudulent affects your credit rating. I don't understand why they accused me of being fraudulent, because had they asked, I would have said,
a deposit.
Yeah, I would have said, well, why don't you go and speak to the issuing bank, who will then speak to their customer and verify whether or not it's genuine.
I'll tell you a little bit of a story that blew my mind once.
Yes.
I used to help out at my husband's office when the receptionist wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And they used to come in and stick the mail. The postman would come and stick the mail on the counter and go away, and there it sat. So one of the patients came in, I didn't notice, and lifted the mail and took it, and there were some checks in there.
Mm-hmm.
So he very carefully put on them for deposit only.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wrote up to the bank, and he said, I'd like to deposit these checks, and I'd like to cash this one.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was an awful lot more than the cash that he deposited, but they assumed that was him because he had checks to deposit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he made off with, I don't know, $3,000 or something.
Which would have been a lot of money then.
I mean, it was.
Yeah.
We were sick. But that's kind of an odd way to slice your cake. You know, make a deposit and then withdraw a little bit more.
Yeah. It's just a, you know, I think unfortunately we live in an automated
There's
world.
a lot of very clever people out there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people who are very good at being fraudulent.
Yeah.
Sadly, I am not one of them. Neither are you. You're not very good at it either. You must up your game.
What?
All this fraudulent stuff, you know, with the check. They're like,
check.
which one of you was it?
Yeah, right.
I'm like, well, we actually meant to write the check.
Jesus.
So I think it's the way of the world, isn't it? Everything's automated and people have to go by what the computer says. And if the computer says, I don't like it, nobody likes it. Then you're not even allowed to complain about it. That's part of the problem. You're not even allowed to complain about it.
You'd think they would set up one of those automatic, what is that thing you talk to? Siri.
Siri, yeah.
They would at least set up a Siri to listen to your complaint.
I would have been on it all morning and saying, and another thing, by the way.
Or find some of these people have Alzheimer's and just ask you the same thing all the time anyway.
I actually felt that I was having one of those conversations with somebody who was clearly reading a script. Now, that's not their problem. But it doesn't bode very well for a very large financial institution, does it? That they have employees who can't...
It makes you wonder what the big salaried ones are doing.
Well, yeah, not a lot. But I think the problem is that you have to have people who can realise that it doesn't fit in with their online responses and say, I need to escalate this to somewhere else. And then if they don't like it, they can escalate it, and then you might actually get to a complaints department.
Yeah.
Whoop.
I can't believe they don't have one, and they're supposed to.
Of course they've got one. They legally have to have one.
It must have a different name that we don't know about.
The unhappy customer department.
There you go.
I should have said, do you have any unhappy customers? Can I join the club?
Jesus. Okay.
Is there a support group for that? Do you need any donkey visits? We can cover it. Right, so that's us. Friday has been done. We're finished with Friday and we're not having any more Fridayness.
Okay.
Done.
Sold.
Yeah, sold. And
you tend to this dog.
Yeah, well, she's fine because I'll get up and go and make dinner.
Am I going to have... What?
You've got stacks of stuff in there.
Oh, I do.
And if we can't find something in there, we've got a very big problem.
No, I have stuff in there.
I know you have. I've seen it. I checked.
What do I have in
Dinner
there?
is coming October 1st.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, that'd be fun.
Well, I tried the customer service department. I just must say this. I did actually try the customer service department, but they asked me to sign in with my account details, and I signed in with my account details, and they said, we don't recognise you.
Yeah, right.
And then, so I phoned the number in the back of my card. I said, oh yeah, they can't talk to you any longer because they're shutting your account. And I'm like, but you've got all my money. And they're like, yeah, but that was fraud. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. So the customer service department cannot speak to me. The only people who can speak to me are the fraud risk department, and they have decided, without my intervention in any way, shape or form, that it is actually definitely fraud, and they're shutting my bank account. And I said, well, do I not get a say in this? But evidently not.
So all they have to do this with a couple of people, and they could be holding a lot of money.
Well, do you know, it's really funny because Nick obviously works in finance, and he and a gentleman that he's working with, while they were having one of their conference calls today, had said that he has had several issues in the past with this very same bank. And he said, but you think about it, so there's $12,000, and they've had that money since it was all sitting there on the 6th of October, and it's the 13th today, when they decided it wasn't quite right. Not that they wanted to share that with me, the account holder.
Right.
So they have had free use of that money, which I'm sure
that's what bugs me.
They put on money markets. What happened if we had a massive crash and they lost all my money in the money markets?
Yeah.
I don't know. These are questions that don't really bear thinking about. So, but what this gentleman was saying, Nick and he were having this conversation, was, I'm obviously not the only person that that has these issues, and there's probably, if you think about it, they probably have millions that are sitting undirected because they're investigating. So it's not really in their best. The reason it's going to take, my salary will sit there until October the 27th. It's not really in their best interest to return it to me. Because it's just going to sit there for their entertainment. It appears.
Yeah,
because quite frankly, that's what I think, because nobody is prepared to tell me otherwise. I tell you.
That happens to me. I thought it was because I was old.
Well,
you know, I had the whole runaround with your life insurance is worthless.
Yes.
Where they eventually just tricked me into cashing it in.
Yes.
Which saved them $100,000.
Yes.
Yes. And I was happy to get the money. I mean, it was the whole thing was well designed.
Exactly, and I think the problem is it's this whole, you know, lack of transparency and lack of, you know, they shut all the branches, so I can't even go down to the I mean, my bank was in Georgetown. That's where I opened up that account, really? But they closed it, so that branch is not there.
You've got one ATM machine, right?
Yeah, but the ATM machine very often runs out of money.
Oh.
Yeah. So I have to go all the way over to Andover if I want to go and speak to a person, and then the person says, "Oh, we're just the branch. This isn't internal banking." And I'm like, "Jolly good." I said, "You're the branch, and I'm speaking to a person. We can't deal with it." And I'm like, "Right, okay." So it's just you know, it's a frustration. But I think the problem is it happens across the board, and there's no impetus for them to change it because they get away with it all the time.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's exactly what happens to me all the time on the age bit.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have to solve that problem. She'll die off anyway.
But you know, the other thing is, I'm not even sure that this is an age thing.
No, yours is not, but it.
No. But I think the banks just behave badly, whatever age you are now. The insurance company for life insurance is a problem.
It's not just the banks, it's almost anything.
Yeah.
I can just see the wheels turning. Well, we don't really have to solve this problem.
Yeah.
We'll just put it off. Just try the whole legal system.
Yeah. Well, you see, the thing is, so people were saying use the other bank. So this is crazy. So my other bank has a branch in Linfield. The branch in Linfield doesn't carry cash because it's an investment bank. So I keep my savings and I keep Nick's money in there. That's where I keep his money, but don't tell him. So that account I don't really actually want to use, but I do have a checking account linked to it.
Oh.
So I have transferred money out of the savings, etc., into the checking. Right. Which is fantastic, but if I had to pay, say, for somebody working in the house, any amount over $1,000, I can't do it because I'd have to take it out in advance because I can only take $1,000 out of the account a day. First world problems, I'm very well aware of it, but it's just all screwy.
And I'm $800 a day because that was my limited going to get the hay. Remember, I had to get my bank to give me, especially to give me the $800 a day to go get hay because they ordinarily would only give you $500.
Yeah,
that was a big deal.
It's a pain in the ass.
It's a pain in the ass. Is right.
I think we're going to have to start printing our own money. Have you got a printer or anything? I've got a nice thick paper.
Oh, what?
We'll be fine.
Okay, honestly. Well, I'm sure we bored you all to death with this.
Sorry, apologies. Honestly, I give up. Totally give up. So we'll be back on Monday. We probably won't have a resolution to anything, but we'll be back on Monday. Oh dear.